Hi guys, I hope you are doing well. I have a repotting video of this beauty, a cylindrical Sansevieria, and I'm gonna point the camera down and we're gonna get to repotting. All right, so this beauty, as you can see, is getting quite crowded. When I planted her in this pot, these two larger ones were in, which they're kind of hard to see right now. It came to me with one of the leaves broken off of one of the mothers, so I put two mothers in this one together, and it has since made, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks like little babies that are all kind of crowded in here. So for one, I just want to give them a bit more space, and for two, you can see here, I think, yeah, you can see the little ridges on these leaves right here. There we go, right here. These ridges here. That is due to lack of water. They're kind of shriveling just a bit, and it doesn't seem to matter how much I water it in this. They're in a little wooden box. I just can't keep them moist enough in this box without water going absolutely everywhere, or just the bottom of the box getting wet. You can see like this, and then if it's sitting on my windowsill, that's no good. And when it was just the two in there, it was just fine because I could keep it watered and it dried out quick enough. But with as much water as all of these take, it needs a little bit different of an arrangement. So just for a comparison, these are two babies that I had taken off of these mothers before, and you can see how round and just nice the leaves are, and that's what they should look like. They shouldn't have all of the ridges that these have. These guys need a little more water. So I'm gonna dump them out and we're gonna see what we got. Oh, we got a crystal in here. Plants like crystals, by the way. Some people think that's woo-woo and crazy, but they're rocks, and plants are used to being a lot more in contact with minerals than they can ever be as a house plant. So if I have a plant that's struggling at all, or just some of them just really like it, I tend to put various and sundry rocks and crystals around them. All right, this guy is quite rooted in here, not coming out very easy, so I'm just gonna dump. Actually, I'm gonna dump in this because this is good soil. There's no bugs or anything, so there's no reason I really need to change out the soil. And get some of this loose stuff out to where I can get them all out. All right, here we go. Voila. Okay, here we have a beautiful bunch, and I'm gonna knock a little bit of this dirt off. You wouldn't need to do this if you were just repotting. You can leave as much dirt on as possible so that you don't disturb the roots too much, but since I'm making a video, I'm gonna show you guys a little more because these pups will be attached to the mother here, kind of like aloe pups are. All right, so here's the big mother stem, as you can see. Her root goes down right here, and then this has beautiful roots, and it just joins right in to this main root stem. All of these do. Now, how you tell if they're big enough to take them away from their mother is if they have other roots coming off of their stems that will support them once they are separated. So if I can knock this off without disturbing her too much. You can see this pup, if I turn it there, she has some nice roots coming off here, some nice roots coming off here, so she's definitely good to go and take off. So you can either do this with a knife or you can just do it with your fingers. Depends on how big the plant is and what works best for you, but I'm just gonna do it with my fingers, and you heard that little snap. And then just gently work off. So these are all the roots that she has. She'll be wonderful and happy on her own. So I'm going to set her aside here. And we'll keep... All right, I'm going to pull these two mothers apart just real gently to see who belongs to who. Because the mothers are not connected at all. These were two separate plants. As you can see, this one is my original plant, and it came to me damaged. It had this leaf just broken off, which isn't a big deal at all. Didn't affect its health or anything like that. All right, this pup has a nice root There we go. Root coming off right here that you can see, and some nice little roots. Not as many as the first one, but she's pretty small, so I'm going to go ahead and remove her as well. Oh yeah, she's got a nice little cluster. I couldn't tell if this was hers or mom's, but this is perfect. And that's all the babies on this beauty here. And by the way, this is the natural shape that these grow in. They're a fan shape. If you ever go to a store and you see a pot of these cylindrical Sansevierias and they're all just stems, this one has enough roots. I'm going to break it off right quick too and then use it as a demo. If it's a bunch of stems in a pot like this and they're not fanning out from the bottom like this, they're not coming out, they're just straight, and they're poked into the dirt, what they have done is they have cut off all of the cylindrical Sansevieria, because again, this is the growth pattern. It'll come one leaf and then the next and then the next, and they grow off in a fan like this. If they're all just sticking straight out of a pot like cute little straws, that's because they're cuttings. They have been cut off and stuffed into a pot into interesting shapes. Sometimes they braid them, but they are always cuttings if they are not in this fan shape. Now, the reason that matters is these guys, after they're cut, they will totally root. You can just chop off a branch like this and root it, no problem. But once you do that, this leaf doesn't continue to grow. It will just stay the size that it's at. It might grow just a tiny, sometimes they'll raise up out of the soil, you know, half an inch or an inch as the roots develop and kind of push the leaf up a little bit, and then people go, oh, they're growing. But they're not. You can have them for years and years, and if they were cuttings, they sometimes will send out pups, which is exciting. You can get whole new plants off of the cuttings just fine that way. But this part doesn't actually grow. It's just kind of capped off, and it won't behave like a normal plant would, and that's really confusing to a lot of people because they're like, I got this cool one, it doesn't fan out like that, it's all straight, but it's not growing. What am I doing wrong? Nothing, it's just cuttings. And I think it's rather deceptive marketing of the plant growers to do all of these cuttings and not tell people that they're cuttings, not the whole plants, when it's not going to ever turn into a whole plant. All right, this one still has plenty of roots too, even though she's small. So since I'm repotting, usually I would leave this attached, but since I'm going ahead and repotting right now, I'm just gonna get her done and remove this as well. And see, she doesn't have much, just a few new ones, but this is plenty. She will totally root just fine. And that leaves us back with these two beautiful mothers, and I'm gonna poke them back together. With this one having the leaf off, I really like them put in front of each other and just kind of potted like this, and they've been really good friends and made lots of babies, as you can see, so I think they're quite happy. And I'm going to pot them up in this. Because of these being the shape that they are, I find round pots a bit cumbersome once they get this big. And let me see if I can raise this up just a touch, since I'm going to be working a little higher now. All right, we'll see. So I like the oblong pots for them, but it's totally about your preference. Front. Sansevieria are beautiful, very easy care plants. The cylindrical ones are a bit tricky to find depending on where you live location-wise. Especially they're tricky to find if you want ones that aren't cuttings, that are actually the whole plant. They can be a little hard to find, but they're really easy growers, like pretty much all Sansevieria are. There are a few varieties of Sansevieria that are a little more picky, but for the most part, they're quite easy keepers. They can do well in really high light, they can do well in fairly medium light, and some of them do really well in low light as well. I'll show you this other one that was stretching just a little bit. I had it actually fully away from a window in lots of bright light, but not in direct contact with the sun, which I try and keep all of my succulents in fairly direct contact with the sun if possible. These ones have been in a east-facing window. I'm sorry, that noise is terrible. I hate the sound of gravel on this glass, or the pumice, but I still can't get it far back enough. Let me raise this up again. All right, so this is what they look like when they've had plenty of light. This is the one that's been away. You can see this one is just a bit longer and kind of getting lighter green up on the end. That's just him reaching for light, and it hasn't gone too far at all. He's totally still just fine. You can see he was leaning this way also, trying to reach light. I'm gonna put him in a window, and this guy will straighten back up, and it hasn't become a problem in any way. I'm not gonna repot this guy because he's nice and plump and I'm able to keep him watered. He has a nice happy baby here, but I'll let it root a bit longer. And there's also another little baby coming up here. All right. On Sansevieria, I don't find it matters a whole lot if you water them right away after potting. With some succulents, you really want to not water them for a bit, but with Sansevieria, it doesn't seem to matter. So you could either water it right away or not, either which way. I'm gonna leave mine for about a day and then water it. And these babies, I am going to get pots for them, a few smaller ones. I wasn't quite sure how many I had, so I didn't grab those. I'm gonna grab a few small pots and get these potted up. Aren't they beautiful? And again, if I can show the contrast. See the ridges? They're just, this is what happens when they get thirsty. They just start kind of shriveling like this just a little bit. And they're not quite as, you can see how this one's a lot smoother and plumper, and these outer leaves are a bit shriveled. So they're still nice and firm, they're still totally healthy, but they will definitely enjoy being in pots of their own with a bit more water. But I think I'm gonna call that good for today since the video has gone on for 12 minutes. And I will talk to you guys later. I hope you're doing well. And until next time, happy growing.